And throughout my 15-year tenure, I worked for 4 major manufacturers, and I started to realize that they all had one thing in common, and that was that they considered human beings to be a human commodity, and that they expected a certain number of us to lose our lives in the utilization of their products.
So this was just part of their formula. They know we're going to sell $100 million of this drug, X number of children are going to die, or adults are going to die, and to them, that's acceptable.
Yes, when I don't know that they actually have it down X number of children or X number of adults, but you know, we anticipate that there are going to be a certain number of deaths, certain number of side effects, and we also put aside a kitty for lawsuits that will probably result as, you know, because of that.
The scariest night of my life was the night that my mom never came home.
We saw how a stroke affected the person that went through it, but more importantly, how it affected everybody else around them.
I never really realized before that just because we're young doesn't mean that nothing will happen to us. We're not invincible.
All my life, I've been suffering with chronic constipation. And for me, it was normal to not go to the bathroom for like a month or almost 2 months sometimes.
And sadly, a lot of people do not have the time to really pay attention to their health.
There's always time to live longer. If there's time to live longer, then why is it that 87% of people die of preventable diseases? Preventable means we have a choice, right? The question is, are you aware of your options on how to live a healthier lifestyle? If you truly knew your options, not even lack of time would stand in the way of being able to invest into your health. For example, something as simple as controlling your meal size. Now, imagine a double cheeseburger with large fries. That's 940 calories. Replace that with a small burger, side salad, and apple slices. Now that's 350 calories. And now your plate consists of half fruits and vegetables, a quarter of starches, and a quarter of protein, which is what a healthy, balanced plate looks like. Another option is exercise. The average person should exercise 60 minutes a day, but let's suppose you can't manage that for whatever reason. Can you manage parking further from the entrance of the store, or doing crunches while watching a commercial, maybe some calf raises while doing the dishes? Do your chores in a plastic bag. The next thing is supplements. Did you know that a UCLA study in 1997 concluded that today you would need 43 bowls of spinach to get the same amount of nutrients as 1 bowl of spinach in 1953? Now, that's a lot of spinach. So take your daily supplements, because not even a balanced meal has all the nutrients your body demands at a given time. So the reason why this is so important is because obesity is on the rise, and it's something we can prevent.
According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, childhood obesity has more than doubled in children and tripled in adolescents in the past 30 years. I personally see this to be true whenever I go to pick up my niece and nephews from school, and I see that their classmates also fall into these statistics. Overweight and obesity are the result of caloric imbalance, which means too few calories expended for the amount of calories consumed, and are affected by various genetic, behavioral, and environmental factors. And the question we really need to ask ourselves is, what are we doing about this? Knowing this, what are we doing to reduce the imbalance? We, as my friend Yvette mentioned earlier, we should be paying more attention to the portions that we are eating, because fast foods are so readily available in such large quantities, we find ourselves overindulging more than we need to. Are we being good role models for our children as parents, aunts, uncles, etc.? Because if we're going to tell them to be more active, are we texting them that they need to stop texting? Or are we going out of our way to engage in that personal, intimate time with them? Obesity is an epidemic. We really need to pay more attention to it. Sadly, it's come to a point where people are trying to make excuses to cover up the severity of it. And then there are others who celebrate being plus-sized or big bone. But what they fail to consider is the fact that the number 2 leading cause of death in preventable disease is obesity. And the only thing we are really doing is telling people that it's okay to be part of this trend.
In 2007, diabetes was the leading cause of death in several countries, including Mexico. Diabetes actually causes 6 deaths in every minute. It's actually estimated that 3 million people actually die from diabetes or its related causes. I realized that those diagnosed had little to no knowledge about the condition. Diabetes is basically a metabolic disorder that doesn't allow the body to properly utilize the glucose due to the lack of insulin production in the pancreas. It's the 6th leading cause of death in the US, causing at least 75,000 deaths a year. The bad news is that the number is expected to double within the next 10 years. The good news is that diabetes is preventable. 9 in 10 cases could be avoided simply by keeping weight under control, exercising more, and cleaning out your diet. We know that diabetes can be difficult, and like Yvette mentioned, supplements can help in that area. You know, it's unfortunate because people wait for a death in the family or a disease to strike before being led to the truth. Nutrition is vital to our well-being. We are what we absorb. And if what we absorb takes us to these conditions, then we need to really think about what we're doing. We need to change. So, now the question is, what are you absorbing?
Fatty, sugary, processed foods. Dr. Chuckin, why is that a problem?
These foods are very, very difficult for our body to break down and digest, so our digestive enzymes have to work really hard. In addition, they contain chemical substances, additives, preservatives, colorings that actually destroy a lot of our body's digestive enzymes. So these foods are a real problem.
That's why you call them bad foods, as a clue that they're bad for you. Next, we get stressed out. How does that play a role?
You ever notice when you get nervous, your mouth gets dry, and that's because you're producing less enzymes in saliva. The exact same thing happens in your gut when you're stressed.
Huh. I never thought of that. So we're literally drying out the insides of our bodies. All right, the third thing that we often do, again, we do it for good reasons, but it has complications. We take lots of medications.
So the digestive enzymes are designed to work at a very specific pH. A lot of different drugs we take, antacids, acid suppressors, things like that. Antibiotics even change a pH of the digestive tract, and so they make the digestive enzymes less active.
And like Dr. Oz mentioned, a lot of the things we put into our system is already unhealthy, and on top of that, to make it worse, our bodies can't break it down. So just imagine all the greasy food, all the processed food, all the sugars. It's already bad for our body, and we can't even break it down, so it's just building up and building up inside of our system. But then, what if we put in good food and healthy food? The problem doesn't go away. Your body's still fighting really hard to break down even that. Our bodies can only break down about 50% of what we put into it, and what that really means is sometimes our body's not getting the nutrients and the minerals that it's looking for because the enzymes aren't breaking things down properly. A lot of people, they go to the gym and they do exercises, they work out, and they don't realize that the way you feel and the way you look, 80% of that depends on what you put into your body, your diet and your nutrition. And so everybody's out there signing up for the gym, paying hundreds of dollars for these training sessions, and they're not changing their diet plans at home, they're not changing their food intake, and they're not getting the results that they're looking for. The reason why this is important is because a lot of the weight that people hold on to is actually in their intestines. We can actually hold up between 5 to 25 pounds of undigested waste. Another problem with having bad digestive health is our immune system is affected by this. Not only do you not use the restroom as often, but your immune system becomes weakened. If you really think about it, just imagine you're eating 3 to 5 meals a day and you only let go of 1 meal. Just think about food left out on a summer table, okay? Let's say we have leftovers from last week. We had pasta, we had hot dogs, we had hamburgers, we had potato salad, and instead of putting it in the fridge, we left it on the summer table for a week. And what ends up happening is that over time, with the temperature, it starts to spoil and it starts to go bad. And when the toxins, the fat, the oils, when it has nowhere else to go, it goes back into our blood system, and that's where a lot of the problems really start. Our generation is also known as the sandwich generation. And not because we enjoy eating sandwiches, but more or less because we're the generation that is going to take care of our parents as well as take care of our children. So we're right in the middle. And like some of the clips and some of the news that you've seen throughout the video, we're also now the generation that's expected to not live as long as our parents. So when you really look at it like that, is we're the generation that's supposed to take care of 2 different generations, but because of our lifestyle and living, our health has been going down so fast that we're expected to die before our parents do. And when that really comes down to it, is how healthy is our choices? What do our children witness?
There are so many different things out there. What if there is a way where we can live healthier and live happier? My friends and I are participating in an 8-week challenge, and it's a fun way to balance our nutrition, challenge ourselves, and get the body we want. Are you up for the challenge?